everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's Jo here. I hope you're all well and having a wonderful day. For today's project, I wanted to make some paper mache birds. I use quite a lot of birds in my displays and flower arrangements, and I thought I would give a go at making them myself instead of buying them. And also, I'm thinking these would look quite nice as Christmas decorations, so they could do all sorts of things with these, and you could decorate them any way that you want. I just used what I had, so yeah, we'll get into today's video. So to start off my birds, I'm using some tin foil. I've just taken off a few sheets and I'm going to use this as my base for my shape of my birds. So I'm just going to take little bits of tin foil and shape them into a bird shape. So I just made sure that there was a body and a section for the head that came to a point for its beak. And I'm just going to do this, adding tin foil as and where that I want and gluing the bits in place that need gluing. Once I'm happy with the shape of the bird, I'm going to take another small section of tin foil and I'm going to fold this to create a tail. And I'm just going to use the bird as a reference to see how long I want it and how thin. And the great thing with these is you can make them as big as you want or as small as you want. I think I'm going to make a bigger one at some point. I think I want to try and do a peacock, so I'm hoping to do that at some point in the future for a video. But yeah, I'm just going to glue the tail in place and then do the same with the other one as well. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to take some masking tape. This is thin masking tape, and I'm just going to completely cover the birds all the way around, both of them, and just taking small sections. And this is just to make life a little bit easier when I'm doing the paper mache. So I'm going to do that, and then we can start to add the paper mache. So for the paper mache, I'm using a mixture of PVA and water. We've used the same amount of each and just mixed it in a tub. And I'm using small sections of kitchen roll that I've cut into tiny squares. And I'm going to just pop one of these squares in place and then use a brush to coat it and soak it completely through with the mixture of the water and glue. I'm going to do a couple of coats and then let it dry. I'm going to do exactly the same to both birds, and I'll let them dry overnight and then I can carry on working on them in the next day. So it's the next day and my birds are now completely dry, and before I paint them I want to create the holes where the legs will be, and I'm just using a little hand drill to do this. The paper mache wasn't really thick, so you could just use something sharp, very carefully poke the holes in. You don't actually need a drill, but this is what I had, so this is what I used. And I'm going to just use a wooden skewer to pop this into one of the leg holes, so just to make life a little bit more easier when I'm painting, and use some Oasis to let them dry. I'm using some paint that I've got left over from another project. I'm just going to add some white into it just to make it a little bit lighter, and then I'm going to coat both the birds. I did 2 coats and let them dry. So now the birds are dry, I'm going to attach some feathers. Now, I mentioned in another video that I wasn't too sure if I was going to use these pink feathers or not. I thought I had some blue ones. When I went to find them, I didn't. I had pink ones, and these are from Poundland, and I got them out of the Easter section this year. And in the end, I just decided to use the pink ones. So all I'm doing is taking some of the smaller feathers, using a little bit of hot glue, and I'm going to completely cover the top of the tail, and I'm also going to do underneath as well. And I'm just going to add feathers as and where I need them to be, and make sure that they all flow in the same direction. And yeah, I'm going to do exactly the same to both birds. So now the tails are completely covered with feathers, I want to add some detail to the bottom of the tail, and I'm going to add some blue and pink sequins, and I'm going to just glue these in bands across the top of the tail. I'm going to start off with a band of blue sequins, overlapping them so that there's no gaps, and then on top of that I'm going to do a row of pink sequins, and then to finish off I'm going to do a third row of blue sequins as well. So for the legs, I'm going to actually make them out of wooden skewers. For the actual length in the legs, I'm going to measure just over about 1.5 inch in length. Mark them with a pen and then use some wire cutters to cut them to the length that I want. I'll need 2 for each of the birds, so 4 in total. And then I'm also going to use wooden skewers to do the toes, and for the toes I'm going to use the pointy end of the wooden skewer and measure these into 1/2 inch strips. So just marking again with a pen and cutting them using the wire cutters. I'll need 4 for each leg, so 8 for each bird, so 16 in total. So now that I've got my pieces, I'm going to start to create the foot. So birds, I normally have 4 toes, so 3 at the front and 1 at the back. I'm taking 2 of the toes and gluing them together for the front and back, like so. And then I'm going to glue the other 2 on either side from the center, just at about a 45-degree angle. And then once these are dry, I'm going to glue the leg to the center of the foot. And we will have a leg for a bird. I'm going to do this until I've got 4 legs, and then I can attach them to the birds. So now the feet are in place, I'm going to use the same blue as I did for the birds, and I'm just going to coat the legs all the way around, making sure I get in between the toes. Did 2 coats and let them dry, and then we can carry on decorating the body of the birds. So to decorate the body of the bird, I want to add a section of glitter underneath the neck to the tail. So I'm just drawing out my shape using a pencil, so I know where I'm going to add my glue and glitter. I'm going to do this to both the birds, and then I'm going to add some silver glitter. I was originally thinking of adding some pink, but I didn't have enough pink glitter, so I'm going to use some silver glitter. I picked some up from B&M's. I paid £2.50 for it, quite a large tub. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use Yoo-hoo glue as well to glue the glitter in place, just because it dries quicker than PVA glue. So I'm just going to use the brush, pop the glue where I want it, and then add some of the glitter, and I'm going to do the same with both. And to finish off the section which I've just put all the glitter, I'm going to use some embroidery thread. This is in a pink colour to match the feathers, but you could use anything that you want. You could use wool, you could use thread, you could use ribbon. I'm just going to use this because this is what I had, and I'm just going to glue this around the outside of the section where I've just added all the glitter, using some hot glue just to finish it off. So for the wings, I'm taking some of the larger feathers and I'm just splitting them at the top so that I've got a nice circular shape that would look like a wing. I'm just going to trim these off with the scissors. I need 2 for each bird, and then I'm going to glue these in place, 1 at each side, to create the wings that will match the tail. So for the eyes of the birds, I'm going to be using some of the googly eyes. These are from Poundland, and I'm going to take out the small black sequin that's in the center of them, just using a pair of scissors. I want 1 for each side of the bird, and I'm just going to attach them with a little bit of glue. And then to finish off, I'm just going to add 1 small feather to the top of the head just to tie it all together and just finish it off. And then that's it, guys. That's the birds finished, and they're not the colour that I wanted them to be, but I'm really happy with how they turned out, and we can have a proper look at what they look like. And here they are. I'm really happy with how they turned out, and they're not in the colours that I originally started off with, but I'm really happy with the way that the tails turned out with the feathers. You could do these in any colour, any style, any size that you wanted, and now I know that if I ever need any birds for anything, I can make my own. Just as long as I plan that I need them, I can make them in advance. So that's it, guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will be back on Monday. Take care for now. Love you loads.